Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to HOTFIX. Today, we're going to be talking about the absolutely massive Mr. Kirioth collapse fest, ultra disaster, whatever ridiculously over-the-top descriptive words you want to use, sir. Dire load of crap. That is EA SimCity's load of crap. I can't even talk. Look, basically, we're talking about the state of SimCity. The game is in an absolutely horrendously bad state. It stinks, Mr. Kirioth, so let's get into it.
It's so far beyond horrendous, I genuinely don't have the words to describe how far beyond horrendous it is. Now, there's the DRM, sir, which is always on, permanent, constant connection required, which means you allegedly can't actually play single player on SimCity without having to connect to a server, which is bullshit, as we all know. And at launch, it turned out that the servers could not even hope to keep up with the sheer number of people trying to play the game, which again is a problem, because you've got to connect to the server and the server doesn't work. That means you cannot play the game you have just spent £35 on, which is unacceptable. And then when
Mr. Kirioth, everybody fucking hates online DRM. This is a fact, right? Why this is even in games, we don't know anyway. It's basically a joke. I mean, if you look back at Diablo 3, it was a collapse fest. Launch night, you know, I think was it error 37 or whatever. People couldn't connect to the server.
The first boss of the game.
Requests. Yeah, too many requests going into the servers. The servers can't handle it. The servers collapse and they start rejecting connections. Right. So you've got people who can't play the game, who have paid for the game. Right. You expect to be able to play the game the moment you've bought the game. Having some ridiculous restriction because their servers cannot handle it is not your fault. Now, obviously, you can compare this back to MMOs as well. So World of Warcraft, when that launched, it was notorious. There was loads of connection problems and all kinds of stuff. So it's not as if this is something which is a bolt out of the blue, Mr. Kirioth. It isn't something which you would say, well, gee whiz, guys, I didn't think we would have these problems with our online DRM that verifies people as they play single player. I mean, if it was multiplayer, you can kind of accept that a little bit, provided you could still play the single-player aspect of the game. Which, of course, you can't with SimCity because it's fucking stupidly, apparently, all online with all the retarded features. So, for them, I mean, you look at SimCity, right? They must have had a certain X number of pre-orders, right? So you could work out from the pre-orders of the game, you know, the kind of volume you're going to need to deal with on launch day, Mr. Kirioth, and then maybe add a few more to that because of people buying as the game goes live.
Yeah.
You could work out the type of server capacity that is required, Mr. Kirioth, to produce an adequate experience for your customers, Mr. Kirioth.
And the thing is,
why didn't they?
People always say things like, oh, well, we didn't expect it to be this popular. I don't care. I don't care if you didn't expect it to be popular. First of all, why would you expect it to be unpopular?
That's a poor defence.
That's like that. Why would you expect not many people to buy your game? That's just shitty.
Yeah,
How bad is your game that you'd think that? Secondly, has none of these people ever read anything about always-on DRM or MMO launches or anything like that at all? It is not like this is a brand new development in any way, shape or form. It has happened over and over and over again, and it will continue to happen in the future because people look at the number of pre-orders, they look at the hype they've built up for their brand new game, and they think, no one's going to buy it. We'll just buy cheap as shit servers, and we won't bother having the capacity to handle more than, I don't know, 1 million people. And then suddenly, it turns out everyone wants to play a game, and your servers collapse. And in SimCity's case, when they did eventually get the servers back online, they had to disable half the fucking game. You couldn't have the fastest speed, so you can have, I think it's cheetah speed, isn't it, where it's like ultra fast, your city grows and stuff's built.
Yeah, didn't they restrict it to llama speed or something like that?
Yeah, so you had to wait hours and hours for anything to happen. They turned off the leaderboards, which was supposed to be a big draw of the game, where you could compare your city to other people's. They said no, you couldn't, because you couldn't see the leaderboards. So I had no way of knowing whether your city was better than your friends. I mean, it's bad enough that it didn't work when it launched, but then to go, it's all right, guys, we've got it working, but we've had to turn off some features, but don't worry about it. What? That's a shitty solution to a problem that should never have arisen in the first place.
And I think as well, the situation is people are kind of letting the whole online DRM sort of cloud the issue of the game, because the game is it's like inherently broken, Mr. Kirioth. Like it doesn't work. Yeah. It's just a really, really bad game. Now, everybody, like as I said, are getting too concerned with the DRM, which is an absolute farce. And this is the thing that's making all the headlines because, it should make all the headlines. I cannot play the fucking game I have just bought. What the
It was
fuck?
bad enough that Amazon stopped selling digital copies of it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, how bad is that? That is a sign that
isn't
you've
it
already fucked up.
the most downvoted, the most like one-starred product ever or something on Amazon, or it's getting up there for that.
It was, it's just something
horrendous.
like that. I mean, that is really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of people who got burned because they were like, oh, new SimCity game. Oh, it didn't work. Just doesn't work. Oh dear, what do I do? That Amazon would actually say, we're not selling this until it's fixed. That's quite a big deal. Amazon are not a small company to start saying we are taking the moral high ground. For them to stop that, you've got it wrong. You've got it seriously wrong with your launch for that to happen.
So let's look at some of the problems before we move the discussion on a little bit to the very industrious Mr. Kirioth modders who have kind of sorted the game out in some capacity. So there are a lot of problems. Like, the one thing that makes me kind of laugh is when you can't terraform the land in SimCity. So you can't bulldoze a hill down or make a hill or whatever you want to do, right? You just get given the piece of land you've got and then you get on with it. So if you place a house down or any kind of building, it will automatically bulldoze that area of land so it's flat and you put the house on it. And that's great. However, Mr. Kirioth, if you demolish that building, it returns back to its original state. Now, I'm not familiar with the way construction actually works because I do not work in the construction industry, Mr. Kirioth, but I'm fairly sure that if my house got demolished, it would not be returned to the state it was before the fucking land was flattened and the house was built on it, Mr. Kirioth.
That's one of my favourite problems with the game. I just love the idea that in the real world you'd knock down a house because it was falling down, and a guy would just stand there and say, "There was a hill there before."
Well, Mr. Kirioth, tell me about the Sim one. Tell me about the whole deal where the Sims are supposed to live individual lives.
Oh God, that.
And how varied their lives actually are.
That might be the worst. That might be possibly one of the worst things about it. The fact that
come on,
you're supposed to have persistent Sims. They have their own lives. They have, they have a job. They have an education. They have a career. They have a wife, a husband, whatever. They don't. That's bollocks. It's just bullshit. When your Sim leaves the house in the morning, if you follow them, they will say they go to work in the nuclear power plant.
Homer Simpson.
You follow Homer to the nuclear power plant. At the end of the day, you then follow Homer home. Except he doesn't go home. He'll just go to a completely different house. So he could leave a 4-bedroom semi-detached in the morning and go to work at the power plant. Then he'll come back and go to his 1-bedroom apartment on the other side of town. And then the next day, he'll get up and work at Tesco.
Maybe he's got a bit on the side.
And then after he's worked at Tesco for the day, he'll go back and live in his high-rise penthouse flat. And then the next day, he'll go and work at a petrol station.
Are you sure you've not just been following some sort of mass murdering rapist Sim around who's just going around murdering and doing dirty things to people and then removing their face and putting it on his own face and then living their lives? Yeah.
It's basically just
it's hip to be square.
Every city is it's just packed with people who apparently have no desire to lead a normal life whatsoever because they leave one house in the morning, go to whatever job they fancy, move into someone else's house for the night, and then go to someone else's job again in the mormorning.
And the thing is, this was one of the features that was the Sims, they all live their lives, independent Sim lives, which, Mr. Kirioth, brings me to my next point. I'm going to use the word fudged, Mr. Kirioth. Population.
The get fudged function.
This is get fudged.
This again. I'm having trouble now with what is actually the worst thing because they're all the worst thing. There is a function in the game, in part of the code, which is get fudged population. And you may think that your city's got 500,000 inhabitants, but it hasn't. It's got 60,000 because the get fudged function takes whatever number of Sims you've got and multiplies it so that your city looks bigger than it actually is. You don't have anywhere near the number of people living in the thing you make, as it says you do. That's just outright lies.
Yeah, and also, going back to just absolutely devastatingly bad gameplay design decisions, you get a thing called the region map. Now, this is a massive map, right? This has got different cities on it. Now, the cities are so small. They're a joke. You can literally fill a city up with completely filled, so there's no land left available in about an hour, which is like a joke, right? The region, however, is a very big space, and it would be great if you could build a city across the entire region, Mr. Kirioth. Now you can't because you get these stupid restrictions placed on you. However, modders have fixed this. Well, I say fixed it. Essentially modded the game to allow you to build outside of these stupid city limits. And the best thing is, Mr. Kirioth, the game actually supports the road infrastructure, right, when it's not in the city limits. And also, Mr. Kirioth, it saves your fucking city layout on the goddamn servers of the game. So clearly, when Maxis turn up and they go, oh, it would take significant engineering to make cities larger, they're talking absolute fucking shit, Mr. Kirioth.
Oh, God. It's just so terrible. And although then again, there is the option, should you wish to do a bit of reverse engineering, a bit of modding yourself, to just not play online at all, if you decide, sir. That is also an option, because not only have modders managed to get it so you can build roads outside the city, and it'll still be saved, but they've also managed to get it so the entire city will run offline. No connection to the servers, no synchronization with the servers.
Hang on a minute, Mr. Kirioth. I'm sure Max has said to me a lot of the simulation was done on their servers. So surely I'd need to connect to their servers to get this simulation information for my city to run. Unless, Mr. Kirioth, they are talking out of their arseholes.
I'm afraid, my good man, that is bollocks. It's terrible. It's just...
Oh, my God.
What they actually mean is that what happens is the city that you have on your computer is synced with the server, but it's asynchronous, which is why people could play for like 20 minutes whilst being disconnected from the net before the game went, excuse me, you're not connected to the net. You know, it's not like, it's not a set thing. It's not actually necessary, basically, because if you can play offline for 20 minutes without any problems whatsoever, quite clearly the server is not needed in any way at all. So that someone then turned up. I mean, you can't save the game because it hilariously saves this fucking city to the server completely unnecessarily because the server doesn't even need to do anything. You can now play it like endlessly. You can just play the game endlessly offline, thanks to someone who just went in and went, no, we'll turn that bit off. I mean, if that's all it takes,
but you can't. I don't think you can save the game yet, though. That's the only problem.
Yeah,
with
that's the only
stuff.
issue. You can't save it.
But they'll sort that out.
But the fact that you can play the game endlessly, albeit without saves, offline, kind of points to everything Maxis have said about the servers being required as being absolute crap. I mean, maybe I'm just sort of, I don't know all that much about coding. Maybe there's some sort of horrible virus will be unleashed if you don't connect to the servers. I don't know.
Why though? Why, Mr. Kirioth? Did he even have all this like pointless online interaction anyway? Like, why is this style of DRM even in SimCity? SimCity is a city simulation game where you build a nice city. Oh, great! You can have your friends in the same region as you, and you can trade resources, which, by the way, only kind of works for some time. According to what I've read off Eurogamer, yeah. You send money to a city, but it just won't arrive, and in fact, the money disappears completely. Who the hell has taken the money? Or you're buying water off a city, but they just don't send the water. It's like, what? Anyway, besides all of that, why does this game have online DRM? It is so stupid.
It's quite clearly not needed at all. It's
no,
not remotely
this isn't an
necessary.
MMO. This isn't a fucking MMO, Mr. Kirioth. Warcraft, World of Warcraft, games like that, online DRM. Yeah, we're fucking. It's an MMO. It requires a persistent online connection to play. SimCity is not. Okay. And another thing I want to say, Mr. Kirioth, because this really fucking annoys me. I now work for Maxis, right? And I'm sitting in their boardroom and I'm going, right, guys, we're going to make the next SimCity. And we're going to make it look nice. Because I do think, visually, the design of SimCity does look quite nice, right? We're going to make it look nice. We're going to make it fucking work. So we don't have examples of cars that decide to just park on the main fucking highway in my city and cause massive unremovable congestion and thus cripple the city beyond any kind of hell.
Or have the hilarious rectangular death trap where citizens will walk round in a rectangle endlessly until the day they die.
And the roads as well. Before I continue with my crazy I work for Maxis thinking, like, there's a video, right? You're probably watching it now because Mr. Kirioth's a master editor, where the roads are like, a guy has built a dirt track I think it's like to a concert that's being played, and all the traffic to the concert is going down this dirt track, and obviously, you know, a lot of traffic's going down there, so it's getting congested. He then builds a massive freeway on the side, but the traffic don't use the freeway. They're like, no, we like the dirt road. We like the dirt road. What? So then he builds another freeway, right? And eventually they start using it. But then, like, a crazy thing is, they ignore using the dirt road. Like, now the dirt road's got no traffic on, they just don't use it. It's like, what? What? It's very weird. Anyway, Mr. Kirioth,
there's also
back to my amazing Maxis thing. Okay, I'll allow you.
There is also one other thing. There is one other thing, and again, you'll see this because I am, as Mr. Stylosa rightly pointed out, a master editor. There's quite an amazing thing where, if you wanted to, you could have a city without any entertainment whatsoever, or any jobs, or any shops.
Oh,
you
yes,
could just
yes.
you could just build a city that's made up entirely out of apartments, and it'll still work. I mean, what kind
Well, this is the thing. The game has no difficulty. There is no, like, you literally cannot lose at the game, which is retarded. And if you can build a complete city which is completely full of residential housing and has no industry, so these people have no jobs, it has no fucking power, it has no anything, but it can still grow to maximum, is it 200,000 or something, whatever the maximum population is. So you've effectively won the game with the most population. That is fucking rancid, Mr. Kirioth. Anyway, back to my little Maxis thing. So I'm sitting in the boardroom, and all right, guys, we're making the new SimCity. What we're going to do is we're going to give them a really big map. Yeah. So one of my little developers comes over and goes, "Sir, boss, sir, I've made this thing called a region map." And I look at it and I'm like, "Yeah, that's great. That's what we're going to build the city on." And they're like, "Oh yeah, the cities will be massive. You know, we'll make them as big as the region. It'll be awesome, Mr. Kirioth." SimCity is a sandbox single-player game. We don't need online DRM. We don't need stupid online stat systems or any of that shit. We don't care. Well, in fact, what we'll do is we'll give the people the option to upload their stats at the end of a game if they'd like to, so they can compare their cities to people on an online leaderboard, which would take about 5 fucking minutes to program. In fact, I could fucking do that right now during HOTFIX for them, probably. So, you know, a simple database that updates and a file is sent to it. Oh, it's so simple. Anyway, we'll make sure that everything in the city works. Because I do believe, Mr. Kirioth, if you have a school in your city, in SimCity at the moment, and then you build a university, the school is no longer used. Everybody goes to university. Now, I'm not sure, Mr. Kirioth, that's how it actually works in the real world. Now, considering this is a simulation game, you would expect the city to work as it does in the real world. Now, my 3-year-old son, Billy Bobbins, he should be going to nursery or kindergarten if you're American, or kindergarten if you're German, I believe. Then he should be going to primary or elementary school. Then, Mr. Kirioth, he should be going to high school. Then, Mr. Kirioth, he should be going to college. And then if he's got anything about himself, he'll be going to university to get his degree in biochemical analysis, Mr. Kirioth. However, in SimCity, no. He just goes straight to university and comes out with his biochemical analysis degree.
And then he goes to
PhD.
work at the nuclear power plant and then goes home to someone else's house.
Oh,
at 3 years
my
old.
God. So bad. Like, it is so bad. But, like, why has this happened? Why the hell has this happened? Why would who has sat there and gone, yeah, you know what? This game looks great. Let's release it. They would know the game's broke. It's like the wankers from fucking Aliens Colonial Marines. Fuck you, Gearbox. We know you were the fucking fault behind that, as much as you want to lay the blame on everybody else. Hammer Point Interactive. Fuck you with the War Z. You know, these people need to be held accountable for what they are doing, because it is false advertising. And in any other walk of life, any other product, if it is falsely advertised, you will get absolutely fucking slammed by whatever governing body there is. So, I mean, in the UK, you've got Ofcom. Are they the what do they do? They're some sort of
they're the regulatory body
for but what for though? Like
TV,
telecommunications companies and shit.
Yeah.
So you can't turn up if you're an ISP and say, yeah, we're going to give you unlimited internet connection and 2 gigabit lines, but really we're going to give you a fucking 100 meg line and we're going to give you a monthly limit of 1 gig. You cannot do that. Yet for some reason, this seems perfectly acceptable in the gaming industry is fucking terrible, Miss Kira. And I'm fucking raging. And I've got a vein on my head and it's going to fucking explode. So I'm going to have to calm down.
Basically, at the end of the day, Maxis and EA have lied through their teeth about the functionality of the game. From day one, they said it would work, and it didn't. They said the servers could handle the stress, but they couldn't. They said that the Sims led persistent lives, but they don't. They said that the population was 500,000, but it was 60,000. They said that the traffic was intelligent, but it's not. Oh, it's just... Why?
SimCity. We built this city on lies and bollocks.
It's terrible. It's just genuinely terrible. And the worst thing is that, yeah, there's a lot of outrage about it, and lots of people talking about it. But all we've got so far is one guy from Maxis talking about how they're going to fix the traffic. And that's it. Where's the acknowledgement of the fact that they fucked over hundreds of people? Where's the acknowledgement that they completely...
Fucking hundreds of thousands, Mr. Kirioth.
I mean,
my God.
There's no acknowledgement that what they've done is completely screwed everyone. And I don't understand how you can sit there.
Well, I think we'll throw this over to them, Mr. Kirioth. What, have you been playing SimCity? What do you think? Have you enjoyed playing SimCity? What problems have you encountered? Have you encountered houses that are built in the middle of a road, yet traffic still drives through the house?
Have you experienced a ghost bus with its 40 passengers endlessly going around the same piece of road?
Have you experienced the life of one of your Sims where he appears to live in about 50 different houses, has so many different wives, and about 100 different jobs? Have you witnessed cars going round the same road endlessly and never ever leaving the fucking road? So there is a red car which drives up and down a street, and that's all it ever does. It never parks anywhere. It just keeps going up and down the street. What is going on? What is going on? We've been Stylosa and Kirioth, and we'll catch you next time, people. Toodaloo.